And welcome back to Clutch Time. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about why I think Justin Bell should be considered in the Player of the Year conversation. Then next, we're going to be talking about Star Watch. We're going to be talking about the stars in the SWBA postseason that I'm looking forward to seeing. And we're going to be talking about some storylines around those stars. And so let's go ahead and start with the first topic here, and that is Justin Bell, Player of the Year. And so, look, I think it's time that we start to really consider Justin Bell as I think in the discussion as the Player of the Year, because I think that what he's done with Villanova has been phenomenal. And I know we talk about him, but I'm not sure that a lot of us are talking about really the impact that he has really had on this Villanova team. And I think that when you're looking at the Player of the Year award, I think you have to start to really look at that as an impact award. I think that, yes, you can look at a player and you go, okay, yeah, individually, they're putting up numbers and things like that. But much like the most valuable player, I think that you have to really look at the impact. And I think that when you look at Justin Bell, I'm not sure that there's too many players in the country that have had an impact like Justin Bell. And so when you look at his numbers, if you're not familiar with Justin Bell and just how well he's doing, he's a freshman here at Villanova. He's averaging 15.6 points a game. He's shooting 39.3% from downtown, 28.6 minutes a game, and he's shooting 49% from the field as well, with 2.4 assists a game and 3.5 rebounds a game as well. So 6'7", 215 freshman. And I definitely think that he's got a lot of room to grow in his game. And so, look, here is the number one reason why I think that he should be considered, because, again, just looking at the impact, I just think that if you take Justin Bell off of this Villanova team, I'm not sure that this Villanova team is going to be ranked as high as they are. I'm not sure if they're going to be as high as they would be right now in the conference, obviously leading the conference, because, if you look at a team like in comparison to, say, Duke, right? And I'm talking about Duke because Cooper Flagg, he's mentioned in the Player of the Year discussion. Look, if you take Cooper Flagg off of Duke, I mean, they still have some very good players here. You still have a guy in Jeremiah Minor, who's considered to be a second-round draft projection in the SWBA draft. You still have Roderick Little. You still have DeMario Duval, right, the second as well. Like, you still have some players that are really trending towards being in the SWBA draft, and not saying that Villanova doesn't have that, but right now, this is a team that pretty much they've done it as a whole. And I just think that Justin Bell has been that guy that has helped lift this team up. And just his impact as far as just across the board, as far as the team is concerned, not only is he leading the team in scoring, but look, he's one of the best on the team as far as getting assists right now. And so you could say that, okay, he's contributing to that. And this team as a whole, as far as the assists are concerned, they're 11th in the country at 15.3. And so he's chipping in there. You get a chance to see as well that he's not only doing it on the offensive end, but defensively, he's also tied, I think, for third on the team as far as block shots are concerned. And so this is a guy that, look, he's showing some growth defensively, and so he's got a hand there. He helps lead this team in three-point percentage at this point in time. The team as a whole shoots 30%. He's shooting 39.3. And so, look, the impact for Justin Bell, that is number one, why you have to consider him as Player of the Year. And number two, I just think that he's been consistent. I think that when you look at Justin Bell, you just look at what he has done traditionally, and just going back and looking at his time with the Rocky Mountain Monsters, everything that I'm seeing has been consistent, and he's gotten consistently better. He's always been a leader. He's always let his play really speak for itself. He's always been confident. He's always been efficient. And I think he's always helped his team find ways to win games, right? And that, I think, is what it's about when you're talking about the Player of the Year. And then when you look at just his growth as a player, this is a guy that is locked into his craft. I think he's gotten better as a decision maker. And I love the fact that as a freshman, he's come to Villanova and he's commanded the respect of the locker room. And I really feel like there's a lot of people there that do respect him. And they just, really follow Justin Bell. And then lastly, man, I love his composure on the court. I think when it's been tough moments for Villanova, he's been there for him. And look, this is a player to me that I think you have to start to consider him in the player of the year award considerations. I just think that he has to be there. So anyway, let me know in the comments, do you think that Justin Bell should be considered as one of the candidates here for the player of the year award? Or do you feel like, no, he's just not quite ready, he's not there yet? Because I definitely think he is. And so next up, I want to talk about the Star Watch in the SWBA as the postseason looms. We got the play-in situation starting. And so I want to take a look at just some stars, the storylines, and just why we're excited to see him here. And so want to start with the first player, and that is going to be Cade Cunningham. I think that when you look at Cade Cunningham and you just look at the year that he's had, I think it's been a special year for him. And I just like the fact that with Cade Cunningham, he's kind of turned the page, I think, from the injury concerns that he's had. And I think one of the comparisons coming out for him is like a kind of like a Paul George comparison. And I think he's showing that. I think he's showing his ability to just knock down the three-point shot, score with, defenders kind of hanging on him and stuff like that. That's definitely something that Paul George has traditionally done. And I just think that Cade Cunningham and this story around the Detroit Pistons, I think it's going to go longer in the playoffs. I really do think that they are going to give the Knicks all they can handle. And I think that if I maybe could circle an upset, maybe it's there. I think that maybe the Pistons really do have a chance to shock the Knicks. I do with Malik Beasley, who might be the sixth man of the year. You have him. You have Tim Hardaway Jr. He's come over. He's played well. Jalen Duren, I think he's like one of my better big men, I think, in the SWBA, or at least one of the ones that I like to watch. And so he's been great. We haven't even talked about the fact that they have Dennis Schroeder. Like, they have so many different veterans to pair with these younger players that are playing phenomenal. So I do think the Detroit Pistons are poised to make some noise. And Cade Cunningham, look, I think he's going to become more of a household name in this playoffs. And so next player, I think, is Jimmy Butler. I think that Jimmy Butler, the situation that was going on in the trade deadline and just really what was going on back and forth between that organization and him. And then you heard the reports of maybe he doesn't want to go to Golden State. And then, the deal happens and he's in Golden State. And it was like, oh man, is he going to be happy? And then they just take off and they turn into a new team. And so I know that they're in the play-in situation that is set to start. And I just think at the end of the day, when you look at this team, look, Jimmy Butler, there's going to be a lot of noise around Jimmy Butler. And can he help this team really get back to a championship status? Can he help maximize that window with Jimmy Butler, or not with Jimmy Butler, excuse me, with Stephen Curry? Because that is the real reason that they got Jimmy Butler over, was to maximize this window with Steph Curry. And so Jimmy Butler, his playoff dynamic, his ability to be playoff Jimmy with these guys who have won championships and Steph Curry, and then also to Draymond, it's going to be interesting to see how he approaches this run. Is it going to be worth it? And so this is a star that I'm looking forward to see. And then lastly, when it comes down to stars, definitely I want to see Kawhi and James Harden. And so look, we've seen James Harden before on some teams when he's been playing at an elite level. I think that maybe it's been a bit of a situation where you were wondering, okay, is it dropping off as far as the play is concerned? But look, he's been resurgent this year, has James Harden, so I got to give him a ton of credit. But Kawhi looks like the Kawhi from 2019 when we last seen him lead that Raptors team all the way to the chip. And so look, that is scary for any team when you have Kawhi this locked in. And so look, I talked about this earlier. This is a team that, for whatever reason, they can look good. They get to the postseason and they find a way to just not get there. Okay. And so is this the year, okay, that Kawhi Leonard is able to deliver a championship, for his home, right? Because he's from here. And so to go and deliver this to the Clippers would be huge for a franchise that historically they've had great regular seasons. They've made noise, but they just have not been able to get over the hump. And I think that if Kawhi Leonard is healthy, he's locked in, if he can stay good for these next couple months, look, this Clippers team can go very far. And I think that really he can hide a lot of maybe some of the stuff that maybe goes on with James Harden in the postseason. And so I think maybe this can help James Harden kind of get over that hump as well. For whatever reason, it hasn't gone well for him in the postseason. But look, if Kawhi Leonard is kind of leading the way, they have a very good supporting cast. And look, James Harden can continue to stay locked in like he's doing on the defensive end. Clippers, these stars are two players that I'm looking forward to seeing as the postseason gets ready to take off here. So anyway, let me know in the comments what is your star watch here in the SWBA postseason. And then as well, let me know what you guys are thinking about Justin Bell. Do you feel like, yes, he is the player of the year? And so look, as we always say around here, see the game, be the game. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.